When people talk about Gabourey Sidibe, the conversation often starts with her appearance, but it never stays there for long. Her story is really about resilience, self-awareness, and choosing to live life on her own terms. From the very beginning of her career, she has challenged expectations in ways that feel both quiet and powerful. Instead of trying to fit into a mold that was never designed for her, she focused on building a life and career that felt authentic. Over time, that approach has become the most defining part of her identity. Her journey reminds us that growth isn't always about dramatic transformation. It's often about learning to treat yourself with more kindness, understanding your needs, and making choices that support your well-being. That perspective has shaped everything she's done, both personally and professionally, and it continues to resonate with people who see parts of their own experiences reflected in hers. An unexpected breakthrough. Moment before fame arrived, Gabourey Sidibe was simply a student trying to navigate life like anyone else. Then came her audition for Precious, a moment that changed everything almost overnight. What makes her story remarkable is how quickly things unfolded. Within days, she went from auditioning to landing a role that would put her on one of the biggest stages in the world. Her performance was raw, emotional, and deeply human, qualities that immediately stood out to audiences and critics alike. Suddenly, she was attending major film festivals and award ceremonies, sharing space with some of the most respected actors in the industry. It was a whirlwind experience, one that could feel overwhelming for anyone. Yet even in that moment, what stood out most wasn't just her talent, but her presence. She brought something real and grounded to the screen, and that authenticity became the foundation of her career. Facing an industry with narrow standards, success didn't shield her from criticism. If anything, it brought more attention, and not all of it was fair. Gabourey Sidibe entered an industry where expectations around appearance can be rigid and limiting. Instead of being seen purely for her talent, she often found herself navigating conversations about her body and image. These discussions weren't always kind or thoughtful, and they highlighted a broader issue within entertainment. Many performers are judged by standards that don't reflect the diversity of real people. For Gabourey, this meant constantly proving that she belonged, even after delivering a performance that earned widespread acclaim. What's important is how she responded. Rather than allowing those opinions to define her, she continued to pursue roles and opportunities that aligned with her values. Over time, that persistence helped shift the narrative, showing that talent and presence matter far more than fitting into a narrow definition of beauty. Finding strength in personal decisions, one of the most significant chapters in her life, came when she made the decision to undergo bariatric surgery. For Gabourey Sidibe, this wasn't about meeting external expectations, it was about health and quality of life. After being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, she began thinking seriously about her long-term well-being. The decision wasn't rushed. It came after years of trying different approaches and reflecting on what would truly support her health. She has spoken openly about how the procedure was a tool, not a shortcut. It required commitment, lifestyle changes, and ongoing care. What stands out most is the clarity behind her choice. She approached it as a personal step forward, rather than something done to satisfy outside opinions. That distinction is important because it highlights the difference between changing for others and making decisions that genuinely serve your own life. Redefining beauty on her own terms over time, Gabourey Sidibe has developed a perspective on beauty that feels grounded and empowering. Rather than chasing an ideal defined by others, she focuses on how she feels in her own body. This shift didn't happen overnight. It came from years of reflection and self-work. She has spoken about learning to appreciate her body not as something to fight against, but as something that supports her life. That change in mindset is significant. It moves the conversation away from appearance and toward self-respect. Her approach challenges the idea that worth is tied to looks, offering a more inclusive and realistic view of beauty. For many people, this perspective is refreshing. It encourages a healthier relationship with self-image, one that prioritizes comfort and confidence over comparison. Navigating public attention with honesty, being in the public eye means facing constant commentary, and Gabourey Sidibe has experienced that firsthand. From social media to interviews, people often feel entitled to share opinions about her body and choices. Instead of avoiding these conversations, she addresses them directly. She has spoken about how even well-meaning comments can feel intrusive, especially when they focus on appearance rather than achievements. This honesty creates space for a more thoughtful dialogue about boundaries and respect. It reminds people that public figures are still individuals with their own experiences and perspectives. By speaking openly, she shifts the focus back to what truly matters: her work, her growth, and her voice. Challenging double standards in Hollywood. One of the recurring themes in her story is the presence of double standards. Gabourey Sidibe has pointed out how women, particularly in entertainment, are often judged more harshly than men when it comes to appearance. This imbalance isn't new, but it remains relevant. By calling attention to it, she encourages a broader conversation about fairness and representation. Her perspective highlights how deeply ingrained these expectations can be and how they shape opportunities and perceptions. At the same time, her success shows that change is possible. By continuing to work, speak, and create, she contributes to a shift in how talent is recognized and valued. Career growth beyond first impressions. After her breakthrough in Precious, Gabourey Sidibe continued to build a diverse career. Roles in projects like Empire allowed her to explore different characters and showcase her range. Each new opportunity challenged assumptions about what she could do as an actress. Instead of being confined to a single type of role, she demonstrated versatility and depth. This progression is important because it reflects growth, not just in skill, but in how she is perceived within the industry. It shows that persistence and dedication can gradually reshape expectations, opening doors that once seemed closed. Speaking up about real experiences beyond acting, Gabourey Sidibe has used her platform to share personal experiences, including moments of bias and misunderstanding. These stories are not shared for attention, they're shared to highlight realities that many people face but rarely discuss. By bringing these experiences into the open, she helps others feel seen and understood. It also encourages accountability, prompting conversations about how people are treated in different environments. Her willingness to speak up adds another layer to her impact, extending beyond entertainment into meaningful social dialogue. A relationship with change and growth transformation is often framed as a single moment, but in reality, it's a continuous process. For Gabourey Sidibe, change has been gradual, shaped by decisions, challenges, and learning experiences. She has embraced this process rather than rushing it, understanding that growth takes time. This perspective makes her journey relatable. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. By focusing on what feels right for her, she creates a path that is both sustainable and meaningful. That approach offers a valuable reminder. Real change doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds over time through consistent effort and self-awareness, living life on her own terms. At its core, her story is about autonomy. Gabourey Sidibe continues to make choices based on what supports her life, rather than what others expect. Whether it's her health decisions, career moves, or public statements, there's a clear sense of ownership. This independence is what makes her journey so compelling. It's not defined by external validation, but by internal clarity. In a world that often pressures people to conform, that kind of self-direction stands out. It reminds us that the most meaningful transformations are the ones we choose for ourselves, guided by our own needs and values.